Hello, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the program Sport Pizza, where you get the absolute best in the exciting world of sports. My name is Bronson Owana, your host. And guess what? It's the international break where we get to see our national teams play. And on Friday will be the first point of call as the Super Eagles of Nigeria will slug it out against the African champions Algeria in a friendly game. And on the 13th will be another time to play Tunisia. So two games for us to really see our darling Super Eagles. Also, international break will see the Europa League return back, and some of your top national teams, football in Europe, will be playing. And also, last Monday we saw the transfer window deadline day, full of drama. We'll be discussing that and much more after this break, so don't go away. Welcome back. My strike partner, Kunle Philip, joins me now. Kunle, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, good to be here once again, Brownson. It was a weekend full of excitement. It was so surprising. So many games that we didn't expect, that could come out the way they actually did. From Saturday to Sunday, it was absolutely thrilling. The biggest of all was the embarrassment at the Villa Park. Liverpool conceding as many as 7 goals against Aston Villa. Well, probably, making a case for Manchester United, who got, spanked
just by an hour before that game.
Just an hour before the game by 6 goals to 2. Come on, that was massive as well. But then I looked at the 2 games, which for me is the heaviest. When you look at the opposition that actually Manchester United played, probably you say it's quite. And Aston Villa against Liverpool, that was total pasting, total whitewash. It was absolutely stunning. It was surprising. It was the way Aston Villa played was absolutely breathtaking. I think it's a game that they will remember for a very, very long time in the club's history. And also for the Super Eagles, 2 games to actually check some of how our players have been faring. We've not seen them for quite some time now. And also some of the young players are really young, and some of them that are not all that young that have been invited into the team. We want to see how they also they will gel. They will be able to fare, because we really need a lot of replacement as well. For the Super Eagles. So it was a weekend of excitement for me, and I'm also looking forward to some of the games, particularly games the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the friendly games they're going to be playing.
Yeah, it's going to be a loaded show indeed. Now, let's look at, since you've mentioned European football, let's start from there. Manchester City dropped points. Now, last week or 2 weeks ago, when City dropped points, when they lost, they replied by signing a defender. Now, they've dropped points. And of course, the transfer window is officially closed. I wonder how they'll cope. But for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, when Manchester United lost last weekend, we looked at the defense. United's defense alone cost about £200 million. That £200 million, £85 million went for only the captain of the side, Harry Maguire. And then Wan-Bissaka, I think about, was it 20-something million? Pounds,
25
between 25 and 28. That's 100 plus, and then the other 2 guys combined made up the 200 million pounds. And yet they made schoolboys error. I don't think I would have made the kind of errors that these guys made in their defense.
Yeah, absolutely disappointing. But I think that some of the players have actually had a lot of rest. And I think for the big players, the big teams, they are still struggling to actually get their rhythm at the moment. And it all boils down at times to tactical play. It looks, for me, when I looked at the Manchester United versus Tottenham game, I saw that, the defense were very jittery, shambolic, and then they committed schoolboy blunders, including the goalkeeper also wasn't at his best at all. So it was very disappointing. Probably I feel that it's not about their form, and it's not about their quality, but it's the fact that those guys are not completely fit at the moment. When you have a defense makeup of, when you have a player bought to the tune of 80-something million, we play a defense worth of over 200 million, and they are letting in as many as 6 goals is absolutely disappointing. And Brownson also, I'm still going to go back to Manchester City right now. Manchester United, the problem I think I have is not even about them alone. I still fuck the tactics of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he's not getting things done, and at some point you discover that he's lost for thoughts, he's lost for ideas, and that is not a normal of a good coach.
And game management ability is
he doesn't know when to make changes, and I don't know how long Manchester United, the board, are going to wait for him, because when you begin to lose as many chances, losing by as many as 6 goals is absolutely disappointing. And even at home, we are not playing away. You lost as many as 6 goals in the Theatre of Dreams.
Now, a quick start for all Manchester United fans, just to let them know that Jose Mourinho spent 2 seasons with Manchester United, and he delivered 2 titles in 2 seasons. In January, which is about 3 months thereabouts from now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be 2 years with Manchester United with no title.
If there's someone you're going to compare Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with or whatever, it has to be using Mourinho.
It's just a start.
I know.
It's just
you're spot on.
It's just for information.
Absolutely, you're spot on.
For all those that thought Jose Mourinho was Manchester United's problem, it's just for your information. 2 seasons, 2 trophies. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we are still waiting for a glass cup. Whatever that is, we'll wait to see how well that goes. Now, for Tottenham Hotspurs, under Jose Mourinho, we've seen some splashes, even though their first game wasn't very good. But we've seen how they'll give you the ball to play. And when you come at them, you lose the ball. They have 2 fast guys at the flanks. They hit you. They break you at the counter. And you cannot play behind his son, because he would commit you. He will make you to commit that blunders and take the advantage.
If they continue the way they've started, Brownson, it will be very difficult for any team to beat them. From the first game, which they lost at home against Everton, who for me has been absolutely unstoppable. They've had a great start this season, 4 wins from 4 games. They've been able to tear other teams they play against. They've been able to turn out impressive wins against them. Even in the Carabao, they got a victory against Chelsea. So the way they play right now, you look at how they ascend. Everyone is moving almost at the same time, and the strikers are very fast. You talk about Song, he is ready to commit you, he's ready to take the ball to you, and you might just, with Song, you get to make a lot of mistakes. Ask Manchester United.
I'm sure United fans don't want to hear that.
Yes, including our own John. I'm sure he's not really happy about the way Manchester United played.
But what happened to Liverpool? I mean, conceding 7 goals against Aston Villa. I mean, that was quite something.
Without Mane, it was always obvious that they're going to struggle against a big team. I never knew that. I feel that even if they had fielded some young players like they did in the Carabao Cup game against Arsenal, they would probably have been able to turn out result against Aston Villa at the Villa Park, but it was a different ball game entirely. Aston Villa from the beginning showed desire. They showed intent, they showed determination to get the victory against the defending champion of the league. And I was looking at what they were going to do. I think Liverpool got the first, they got the first, second, and then before Mo Salah actually restored, reduced the tally, then the goals started pouring in. I think that one of the factors that was used against them was the fact that they underestimated the capability of Aston Villa. They feel that yes, it was just going to be coming from the victory they recorded against Arsenal the previous week. They felt that it was going to be a stroll in the park for them.
Maybe Arsenal showed too much respect.
Too much respect. They showed too much respect. I faulted the plans, the tactics of Mikel Arteta in this. Even against Leeds United, to concede the game, they struggled. Leeds were actually on fire. They took the game to them at the Anfield, and then they almost ran out. I mean, they almost got a draw at Anfield. So I expect Arsenal to also do that, but then they didn't. Well, I think Aston Villa did what Arsenal and some of the big teams could not do by recording an emphatic 7-2 victory against the defending champion. Like I said, it's a game that they will never forget in a very long time in their history, because this is the first time a defending champion will be losing by as many as seven goals.
Right, that's
it's
well,
I don't know what other word to use.
Now, also, the transfer window, the deadline was absolutely buzzing. There were lots of movement to different clubs. But we won't be looking at the movement because there were lots of other things behind the scenes. Now, you observe that this season, there were no massive spending like we saw in the previous seasons where players were signed for £100+ and all of that. So, why do you think we had that slight change?
The biggest signing we will have recorded this season will have been if Lionel Messi. Messi, yeah. If both parties have agreed, probably will have seen over 100 million. I think at the point, I think it was around 500 or thereabout. But then the clubs, owing to the losses they recorded in because of the pandemic that erupted, the clubs are being very careful. The management are being very cautious because there's really not much to spend. And then you also look at the fact that really not all the players are actually available at the moment. Some of the players, some of the teams are holding on to they're holding on to their key players, and that also was a big factor. And also the UEFA transfer, what's it called now? The fair play rule also came to fore because if you are spending more than what you are earning, then you will enter into a big trouble with UEFA. So these were some of the factors that actually imitated. For teams like Chelsea, remember that they actually spent, they sold some players, Eden Hazard, for over £100 million, and then they were able to get in more players.
That was transfer. That was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, they didn't spend. They didn't spend the money. The money was there. You remember that even last season, Frank Lampard had to make do with some of the young players that he had at his disposal. He couldn't really, record any major signing. And some people are saying if you are able to at least qualify for the UEFA Champions League with the caliber players you have, then if you have the money, to spend, which for me, no, they've not done badly. They're actually on track right now. So that could probably be a major factor. The fact that the UEFA play rule is, fair play rule is also a big factor for all the clubs.
Yeah, definitely. And it really reflected in the way these players move. So those big money moves that we expected didn't get to the light of the day. Maybe discussion will help some other lower clubs, that don't have the financial power to really flex their muscles. But we can't say that. Maybe also the pandemic also affected the way businesses went because clubs were not very confident to bring out money. Don't forget, fans are not coming in, gate fees not being earned.
Yes.
So they're being careful of their spendings. All right, at this point, let's go for a very quick break. And when we come back, we'll be looking at what will be happening this international break. So don't go away. Welcome back. Now, the international break is going to be a very busy one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Don't forget that in 2020, we haven't seen the Super Eagles play, no thanks to the coronavirus. But they are returning with a bang. 2 international games, that's a friendly game. And in November, the African Cup of Nations qualifiers would begin full time. We're going to be seeing 2 games, 2 competitive games in November. Of course, build up to this are always very important. Now, Kule, the list was released, and we've seen quite some new names that most Nigerians are not very familiar with. But let's start from the goalkeeping position. Now, we have Okoye, we have Dele Alampasu, and Yakubu. And Yakubu is not really a familiar name as far as the goalkeeping department is concerned.
Matthew Yakubu is a young player who plays in the Slovenian league, and he has been in a very good form for the club, and he's been really keeping it very, very tight. So I watched some of his clips playing as, manning the post for the club, and for me, he's really very good. I think that his invitation is a good one to create competition among the goalkeepers, among his colleagues. I think that it will give Okoye and others a good run for their money.
And it's 2 friendly games. That's if General will be ready to take risk to help us test some of these guys. So we will have
It's really very important for him to take risks because he took risk on Mukoye Maduka, because before now no one really believed in him, and he did very well in one of the friendly games we played. Was it even against? I think it was against Argentina. Or I can't really remember that game very well right now.
Well, at least it was a risk that people want to say, even though
that's what we want to see. At times, we look at Genotro. Most of the time, he doesn't want to lose games. In Nigeria, if you try out some players and they don't gel and you lose the games, they begin to pour vituperations on you. But that's why it's always very. But then
it's a friendly game.
It's a friendly game. You can
right.
inject as many new faces as possible.
All right. On the defense line, we have some exciting players. Many of them familiar names. We have William Troost Ekong, of course, Kenneth Omeruo, Leon Balogun. I'm surprised he made the list because he came to England, really didn't do much, and he's left Brighton. And when he left Brighton, right now he plays his trade with Rangers in the Scottish League. He plays alongside Joe Aribo, and even some couple of days ago, he was I think last week, he actually played. He was in the heart of the defense for Rangers, and he's beginning to get his confidence and is reading back. So his invitation is actually justified. Justified. All right. Awaziem also made the list. Sanusi, of course, is doing very well. Watched this game over the weekend. Olaina, of course, and Colin. These guys would be manning the defense for us. Midfield row, we have Etebo Ndidi, Agu, Tijani, and of course, Onyeka. And when we talk about Tijani and Onyeka, and that newcomers that we hope would do the magic for the Super Eagles. But when it comes to the forward line, that's where we have the most. Now, let's mention that Osimhen will not be part of this game because of the controversy that went down over the weekend, where his club Napoli could not play Juve because of a scare of coronavirus that broke out within the Napoli squad. So he has been replaced with Paul Onuachu. Even though some Nigerians have their reservation about Paul Onuachu, we've got other strikers doing very well. But the coach finds it very easy and confident in Paul Onuachu. Sometimes these players need second or maybe a third chance to prove themselves.
He played in one of the games against, was a friendly game against Egypt when we defeated them by 1-0. It was a spectacular goal. It was a spectacle. It was a delight. I remember watching the goal over and over again. And at the point I was like, yes, we have a striker in the mode of Rashidi Yekini, but then he stopped scoring. What is expected of strikers is to score goals, but when you are not scoring, then you are not doing what is expected. So that's one of the major problems Nigerian fans have with Paul Onuachu. But then, since the league started, he has scored, I think last week or upper week, he scored a goal. For me, this season, he has started on a good note.
Now, apart from Paul Onuachu, what are Super Eagles players forward that would be representing their country involves or include Captain Ahmed Musa, Moses Simon, of course, Alex Iwobi, who is also trying as much as he can to get back to the starting lineup of Everton. Now, like we mentioned, Osimhen has been replaced, and we have Cyril Dessa, who will be making his debut as well. Now, one name I'm not very comfortable with in that forward lineup is Kelechi Iheanacho. He hasn't really done anything this season, so I wonder the criteria that he was being invited. Well, Chukwueze also has been fantastic this season as well. And then the final of the forward line, we have Ejuke. But let's talk about Kelechi Iheanacho. I don't understand why the coach has this special soft spot for Kelechi.
Bronson, I don't think it's about the soft spot the coach has for him. Towards the end of last season, Kelechi Iheanacho began to score. I mean, he began to get opportunities to play under Coach Brendan Rodgers, who told everyone who cares to listen that he still believes so much in the ability of the Nigerian, and he actually started at the point he was scoring in goals, on a weekly basis. At some point, he scored in about 4 goals within a month at some point, and he was doing well up till this season, up to the end of the season. But this season, he hasn't really. The league has just restarted, and they've just played about. I think they played 4 games And, Kelechi came on last week. He came on in the second half of the game. So his inclusion in the team is not bad from my own perspective. I think John Otuo is looking at it from the way he played last season. Remember, even enrolled before the pandemic erupted, the list of invited players was out at some point, and Kelechi Iheanacho's name was included because he was getting in goals. He was playing very well for Leicester City at that time. So his inclusion for me is not bad, though he has not started playing on a regular basis with Leicester City this season.
All right, let's see how well that goes. It's going to be a two-legged affair. Now, away from football, now let's talk about Formula One. Not a good news for all Red Bull fans, because Red Bull engine partner, that's talking about Honda, would be leaving, or they'll be parting ways in 2021. Red Bull engine partner Honda is to leave Formula One at the end of 2021. The move leaves Red Bull and AlphaTauri needing to find an engine supplier and a sport with just 3 engine companies. That's going to be a very big one. Now, there's one thing to get an engine company. There's another thing to have a supplier that will understand the sport and build cars that in line with the specification of FIA.
Yes, Brownson, is a big blow for Red Bull. It's a very disappointing one for them. The fact that they are going to be parting ways with them in 2021, and they are actually expressing their displeasure. But they said they will be able to come out of all of this. But Brownson, I still don't think that the engines being made by Honda are that spectacular from my own perspective, because Red Bull has been, they've not really been winning. They've not been churning out wins. They've been absolutely dominated by Mercedes. So now the question is, who is going to partner with Red Bull right now? Remember what happened a couple of years ago with Renault when they were in partnership with Red Bull. At a point in time, it ended, embarrassingly when Red Bull came out to say Renault are bad. I mean, their engines are bad and terrible. And then at a point in time, they also looked at probably getting Mercedes make their engines for them. But then Mercedes told them on clear terms that they were not interested. Now the question is, who is going to get them engines? I mean, who's going to be making the engines? Who's going to partner with them?
I have an idea.
Who?
I think they should contact Innocent Motors. Yeah, you see, really, what you need to do is to give them your specifications.
Innocent has just started.
It will be an opportunity for us to have a Nigerian brand.
Honda has been there for a very long time, and they've even been struggling.
Even Honda.
About Renault is an household name.
Don't let me talk about some of the deficiencies.
Let's see how they come out of this. But then it's really going to be a very big one. They really have to really go all out and search for, get a company that will get them the specimen, the right engine to actually, propel them into competing with the Mercedes, who are on top of their game at the moment.
Yeah, that was really hot and spicy indeed. Now, Kule, thank you so much for being a part of the show. We really appreciate your presence.
It's a pleasure, Brownson, and I really want to say this. You never talked about Arsenal's victory against Sheffield United.
How can we be wasting time talking about Arsenal and Sheffield?
Brownson,
Sheffield United.
Brownson, the team that defeated Liverpool,
Sheffield United,
Aston Villa. It was Aston Villa that defeated. So what's the difference between Aston Villa?
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We don't waste time on Arsenal Sheffield. Please follow us on our social media platform currently displaying on your screen. Until we meet again next week, have a lovely day and a lovely week ahead.